o'clock p.m. Clerk Segers, can you please take roll call?
Good evening.
Foster,
Good evening.
Ganguly,
Good evening.
Hudak.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect the clerk Segers both in attendance and plugging in his laptop.
Good evening.
Hello.
All right, thank you. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the agenda as presented, adding item R1, resolution to declare April as Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month in Canton Township and recognize the Sikh community and celebrating the heritages and cultures of Sikhs and the contributions of the Sikh community to Canton Township.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segers, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Agenda is adopted. Our first item is the general calendar item, number 1.
You want to do
Approve
the
new,
resolution?
oh, I'm sorry, yes. This will get you time. Please read the resolution, Trustee Borninski.
Resolution of Board of Trustees, Charter Township of Canton, Michigan. Resolution to declare April as Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month in Canton Township and recognizing the Sikh community and celebrating the heritages and cultures of Sikhs and the contributions of the Sikh community to Canton Township. Whereas Sikhism is the 5th largest religion in the world today and is a monotheistic faith founded in the Punjab region of India approximately 500 years ago. Whereas the Sikh religion is based on a belief in one God, universal equality, and basic values of truth, nonviolence, tolerance, and peace. Whereas most of the world's 25 million Sikhs live in India, but more than 500,000 have made the United States their home. Whereas for over a century, thousands of Sikh Americans have been making valuable contributions to every aspect of American society in agriculture, information technology, small businesses, the hotel industry, trucking, medicine, technology, public and military service. Whereas Sikh Americans endeavor to enhance understanding and respect among people of different religions and aspire to see a peaceful and diverse community where everyone is treated equally. Whereas the Sikh American community continues to peacefully overcome attacks on its identity and practices, whether in the form of school harassment, employment discrimination, or fatal shootings. Whereas Canton Township stands with the Sikh community in denouncing hate crimes directed toward any individual based on their religious beliefs. And whereas our nation, our state, and our township are enriched by the unparalleled diversity of our residents, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton celebrates the contributions Sikh Americans have made to society and does hereby declare April as Sikh Appreciation and Awareness Month in Canton Township. We encourage our residents, employees, and the larger community to join us in this special observance.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to pass this resolution?
Madam Supervisor, I move that we pass the resolution.
Support.
Motion made by Trustee Snyderman, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution passes. Thank you. So our first item is on the general calendar, G1, approve new precinct map and polling locations, precinct auditor conclusion.
You're up.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I can't connect to the VPN, unfortunately. We'll figure that one out. You know what?
Want someone else to read it?
We'll adapt and overcome. That's fine.
You want to stand up there and plug in?
I could, but I still can't get access to like the board pack that we emailed out to everybody, but sure, I'll stand up there and plug in. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Segrist. I am the clerk in Canton Township. Those of you who don't know me. We had a Board of Election Commissioners meeting last week. Our proposed redistricting for precincts was approved. Okay, I plugged in the cable. Do I need to, am I going to bounce anybody out or no? I just plug in the HDMI. And in that process, if you all remember, I went to you to create the position of precinct auditor. We wanted to address the increases in voting by mail and what that would mean for the precincts themselves to maximize efficiencies. We wanted to look at the current set of precincts, kind of adjust for the change in election, in voting behavior, and in that process, we came together with a precinct kind of redistricting, auditing process. And I was quite happy with the final proposal. And I'm going to get that up and running. If you look in your board packet, which I can't get access to, unfortunately, because I can't get into the VPN. Nope, I can, so that's great. I'm going to open up that. You can all see my desktop. That's great. Okay. Okay. So now you can see what I can see. Let's get rid of that. Oh, it's so small. No, okay. I have like 1,000 tabs open, so I apologize for that, but the Board of Election Commissioners approved the precinct plan as presented, and what we were attempting to accomplish was to maintain equity, to ensure that we did not, that we prioritized individuals who had individual kind of challenges to getting to the voting booth on election day. So we kind of wanted to maximize efficiency while ensuring that we did not overburden the system and to account for changes in voting behavior. We will be doing a town hall on this as well to cue in the entire community once our plan has passed the proposed, the approval of by the Secretary of State. We have submitted that map. We submitted the shapefile with the addresses. Once that is uploaded, we will review them to ensure that there is no issues. And then when we move from there, we will obviously notify every single voter that both their precinct name or number has changed and their voting location may have changed. And on top of that, we will do some additional public education as well. Now, this is the old map here, which had 40 precincts. Every single beautiful red triangle is a polling location, and anything in a pink box would be the precinct number itself. This was done in 2017 and was a modification of our, at the time, 42 precinct map. It had some built-in inefficiencies, some things we did not realize until we implemented them, and some of the development we had been anticipating had yet to be developed. But on top of that, this was also estimating that we would still see 70% of voters voting in the precinct on Election Day. Obviously, Proposal 18.3 changed that, and COVID changed that. One interesting caveat to add is after Proposal 18.3, which allowed anybody the right to vote in absentee ballot, Michigan, which had been ranked by MIT, the University MIT, as 30th out of 50 states for the quality of election administration, jumped to 7th in 2 years. Michigan jumped from 30th to 7th, passing Colorado, which is a state known for its very inclusive and very voter-friendly behaviors. So Proposal 18.3 was a challenge for election administrators, but it was a huge, huge boon for voters themselves. So that's the old map right there. This is our proposed new precinct map that was approved by the Election Commission. This map does not get approved by this legislative body. However, the voting locations are approved by this legislative body. There are 33 precincts. We are going from 40 precincts to 33 precincts under this model. And if you look there, there's some beautiful colors in that map. Those are the ESRI layers that you had approved we purchase. Each and every one of those would be what in the redistricting world we refer to as a community of interest. Those are all people who have economically aligned interests. So Canton is segmented into 17 different types of people who read different media, obtain different media, purchase different products from each other, live their life substantially different. And these are all broad generalizations, but it was very instructive. And we were able, with the Election Commission, to use this information so that neighborhoods that we know have on average 3 vehicles and people who live and work in fields where they tend to have a high rate of working from home, as opposed to those who tend to work 9-to-5 jobs, we were able to anticipate kind of when the ebbs and flows of voter traffic might be. Also, individuals who may tend to vote absentee versus those who would vote in the precinct. Also, those who would have transportation issues. And we used that information to determine how far we wanted to put a polling location, to make sure that we didn't overburden any seniors, to make sure that we didn't challenge anybody, especially because Canton Township does not have intra-transit. We do not have transit that comes into the community. So on Election Day, you wanted to minimize that disruption. And so the overall theme that you're going to see is that polling locations tend to be less efficient on the eastern part of Canton Township because that's where you can see more of the segmentation, different walks of life. And so what we didn't want to do was create larger polling locations with like 4 or 5 precincts in them there, because that could potentially lead to lines on Election Day. Additionally, that could lead to lines at the end of the day, and lines are one of the things that we want to avoid. We are keeping with the Presidential Commission on Election Administration's recommendation that we have only 30-minute lines in Canton Township. So that's the target. Now, that target doesn't apply to the morning. If you show up before the polls open, you will wait as long as it takes to process a voter. That, we cannot process a voter faster than the laws of physics will allow us to. But if you show up at any point, once that first line is cleared, you should never have to wait longer than 30 minutes. And that's a goal we had. And this was a very helpful tool, very helpful tool. On top of that, this is we're going to have to mail everything out to everybody in the community. This is the final list of what we would be doing for polling locations. And notice it is changing. We went from 20 locations to 12 locations. And an effort was made to leave as many of the elementary schools as possible. Elementary schools are beautiful as they go. But there's a reason you tend to have, with the exception of Workman, 600 students in a middle school as opposed to 600 students in an elementary school. There's not enough rooms. The parking lots aren't big enough. They are smaller buildings. They are neighborhood schools. And so what we're doing is we're transitioning from the neighborhood precinct vote model to a regionalized vote center model, which is kind of prioritizing both voter experience and efficiency. And in doing so, we are kind of inverting our process a little bit. So what you would see at the top is Liberty Middle School, which would have 4 precincts. You could say, oh my goodness, 4 precincts, that's a lot. Currently, we have been having 4 precincts at the Summit since I've been registered to vote in Canton, which goes back to, I think, 2001 maybe, or 2002. So we've had 4 precincts at the Summit, and that has never been an issue. Liberty Middle School has an auxiliary gym, a regular gym, and a cafeteria. There's lots of room there. They also have beautiful, beautiful parking lots that are adept to handle a large quantity of cars. Then moving down, we go to Discovery Middle School, Plymouth High School, Canton High School, the Village Theater, Salem High School, Connection Church. And those numbers, which I call voters, are actually voting age population. So not every person who is over the age of 18 in Canton is registered to vote. And I won't know those final numbers until they upload that into the system. And also, those voters or voting age populations are not the registration today. I am using the registration that I am estimating at the time of the 2024 presidential election. And what's beautiful about that is I can use the ESRI data from ArcGIS based on the lifestyle or the demographic for individual precincts, which tells me how many people tend to live in those homes and what their ages are. And so when we were projecting what future growth might look like, we could project really efficiently what future growth, building one house in a 1A segment might look like versus building one house in a 3B segment. So we were really able to dial this thing down. And time will tell if we were efficient or not, but I think we were. So notice we are still going to be having some 2 precinct locations in Canton Township. And notice that those are all on the eastern section of Canton Township. And this is where I said we prioritized equity over efficiency. We wanted to ensure that we did not come anywhere near blowing out that 30-minute line for a voter, which was our target. We're going to have 2 at Life Church, 2 at Crescent Academy, 2 at Erickson, and 2 at Field. And that's where we are prioritizing voter experience over the efficiency. We just were uncomfortable. We additionally modified our proposal from the precinct auditor because of concerns we had when we looked at the density in some of those eastern precincts. We had to lighten that density and diversify it a little bit, ensure different folks from different walks of life were in the same precinct so that we could ensure some people would show up in the morning, some people would show up in the evening, and enough people would vote absentee to make sure that that precinct did not get too much activity. Outside of that, this is the information from the Election Commission itself. We will be amending the process flow inside the precinct to accommodate this increase. We are using I love MIT right now. I'm kind of nerding out with a lot of their election stuff. They have an election lab, and they do a lot of really good information, a lot of good work, and it's all free, so it's fantastic. But we've been using their queuing theory, which is something I've talked about before. It's implemented by places like Disney, Cedar Point, Busch Gardens, any place that has to expedite kind of like traffic management for large quantities of people. Queuing theory is where you start to see assembly line engineering meeting social engineering, basically. How do you assume how human beings are going to act, and how do you build your processes around it to streamline things efficiently? And so we're going to be doing that inside the precinct, and we're going to be working with the state of Michigan to secure some grants to help fund some of the improvements we'll need to make this happen. On top of that, the final kind of changes, if you're wondering kind of the distance someone's going to have to travel to vote, so precinct, now the numbering system will change too. It won't be kind of random. It'll be, the precincts will be kind of contiguous. So the numbering, precinct 1 will start all the way in the southwest corner of Canton Township, over at the corner of Mott and Bar Road. and Precinct 1, Precinct 2, and Precinct 3 are all going to be voting at that beautiful little star there known as the Summit. Precincts 4, 5, and 6 will all be voting at the beautiful star known as Connection Church. Precincts 7 and Precincts 8, very similar to the outgoing Precincts 5 and 29, who were two of my favorite precincts in Canton Township. Now, they're going to be rebranded, but they're both voting at the exact same location, which is Crescent Academy. Here we have Precinct 10 and Precinct 9. I'm especially happy about this Precinct 10 recommendation because those folks who currently live at where the Canton Commons is and a couple of other apartment complexes have been voting at Halsing Elementary School. So their transit their trip to the polls will be greatly reduced, and it'll be a little bit more simple. They're going to be able to travel to the nearest main road, make one turn, and then travel a half mile, and they will be at their voting location. So super excited about that. We've got Precinct 11, Precinct 16, and Precinct 17. These folks are going to be voting at Canton High School. 12 and 13, just to kind of orient you, we are at Haggerty and we are at Ford. These individuals will be voting at Erickson. Precincts, we lost one of the numbers in the layering process, but Precinct 14 and Precinct 15 are going to be voting at Field. We initially had this district going higher, but there was too much density, and that's an example of where, Haggerty Road is interesting because you have a fairly diverse young population here, and you have a fairly white working class. And there's two different segmentations of that in our layering tool. This one was called Workday Drive, and this one was called Home Improvement. And so these are two subgroups of white working class folks who have different behaviors, different income levels, different kind of economics situations. And so we tried to diversify in Precinct 13 all three segmentations there to create a well-rounded precinct. Super helpful. Precincts 16, 18, and 22 would be voting at Discovery Middle School, which is nice because some of those folks in 16 currently leapfrog another precinct and vote very far away. Precincts 26, 27, 21, and Precinct 20 are our four precincts who will be voting at Liberty Middle School. 23, 24, and 25 are some precincts we've got in and around the high school. So that's Old Sunflower and the subdivision across the street, across Canton Center Road. They're all voting at Plymouth. So it's a quick little jaunt to Plymouth High School. We have our some of our southern Cherry Hill Village precincts, 3 of them voting at the Village Theater. We've got our northwest precincts, including the northernmost Cherry Hill Village precinct. They are traveling to Salem. It was not ideal for Precinct 31 to have to travel to Salem. That said, this is a socioeconomic demographic that can handle a travel to the polls versus others who cannot. And a 2-mile travel to the poll is substantially small still for a community of our size. You would see, on average, a larger distance to travel in communities like Livonia and Westland. And those are the modifications. Those are the 12 precincts. Those are the precincts or precinct locations, and those are where the 33 precincts would vote under this plan. Are there any questions in general?
Comment. Good job. Very good.
Thank you. I wish I could take all of the credit. Nicole Borsch did a substantial amount of work. Our precinct auditor did a great job. His initial proposal required little modification. My deputy clerk, Anthony Essmaker, has always helped out immensely. And then on top of that, I used some free tools from Rhode Island University. I used some free tools from University of Southern California. From their Center for Inclusive Democracy. I used some free tools from MIT, and this board, by giving us that ArcGIS, that business analyst tool, really allowed me to challenge some of my initial assumptions and dig a little bit deeper and make some smarter decisions. So I appreciate that.
Verify that. Good job on your teamwork.
Yeah, on everybody, and you, thank you.
Stephen?
Yeah, Michael, seeing this in the commission, it was well thought out and learned a lot about the different profiles that you use. Will you be able to, after the election, see how it matched up to reality?
Most definitely. I mean, so the first test will be August, then November. And that's a good dry run because it'll let us know if some of our assumptions are going to hold firm. And if those assumptions hold firm, that's great. If they don't, we'll have to tweak this plan to make sure we don't have a disaster in 2024.
And thanks. And in this go-around, you'll be communicating with a lot more voters than you did last time. Are you prepared for the questions that you're going to get? Or
I think
handle
so.
them?
I think so. So we're going to do our best to be semi-proactive, right? So we'll get something in the focus. We'll do the town halls. In my experience, 3% of the individuals who are interested in a topic will attend a town hall, and it's usually not the people who have the largest opinions about it, so that's unfortunate. But we'll do the best we can to proactively kind of educate around this. And some people will have some strong feelings about it, and I can appreciate that. And, we'll do our best to kind of communicate the intentionality we took. Yeah, thank you.
Just a suggestion, it might be helpful if you're able to put like little flyers at counters, maybe at the summit, at the treasurer's office, to let people know that their polling location may have changed, and maybe advertise the Michigan Voter Information Center so people can go and look at their precinct, their no polling location, and a sample ballot, which I think might be helpful for folks.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. And if anybody has any other suggestions between now and the election for ways we can kind of get this out, I would appreciate that.
I'll help you with that. Yes.
Conveniently, one of our topics tonight is, it would be very helpful.
Kate?
Yes, so I enjoyed learning a lot about this at the Election Commission meeting, and I think it makes a lot of sense. As you know, my concern was communication, and I think that, as much as we can push it out, the more the better. So, however that takes place, I'm not going to tell anyone to do their job, how to do their job, but just to make sure that we get this out, and then also be prepared on Election Day to direct people.
Yep. Most definitely. In the previous, when we closed a polling location, we had a sign there notifying people this is no longer a polling site, and then had a link. We would probably put a QR code as well so that they could go right to the MVIC and find their new polling location. But yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Good job. Can I have a motion, please?
So, Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the new precinct boundaries and polling locations as presented and the associated costs related to mailing the legally required notices, and to authorize the clerk, myself, to make minor changes as it relates to correcting errors in the precinct maps as needed.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion approved. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a study session, communications. And I will hand that over to Kristen Thomas, our communications manager.
Okay. Get you plugged in.
Yep, Greg's plugging us in, right? Greg?
Thank you, Brian. Quick share.
There we are. So, thank you, everybody, for allowing us to do this. We just thought, in light of the communications assessment that the board is looking for. We thought maybe now would be a good time to kind of just show you all of the stuff that we do day in and day out. So first, let us just introduce ourselves. I'm Kristen Thomas. I am responsible for communicating for the board, the supervisor, and overall communications. We have Barb Caruso. She is responsible for communicating public safety, police and fire. In addition to communicating, I'm also doing economic development, in case you didn't know, which is a whole other job. Barb does public safety, police and fire, and she is also the business operations coordinator for public safety. Amy Hamilton does communications for municipal services department, the clerk, the treasurer, finance, water billing. She is also the DDA coordinator. And Peg Stevens does leisure services, which is 18 jobs in and of itself, as we know. And that requires a whole bunch of additional marketing efforts that for the revenue generating businesses that we have, the Summit, Pheasant Run, Village Theater. So essentially, when we all started, we were communications, and that's it. And then over the years, as we've all been here, 25, 30, 20, 15, it's all evolved. And when we first started, we barely had a website. We certainly didn't have social media. And so we've all evolved. All of our roles have evolved, but at the core, what we try to do every day is communicate with our residents. We inform, we educate, and we promote. And what we communicate to our residents has a huge impact on Canton's reputation and goodwill. And we want, when a resident sees our Canton information, we want them to be able to trust it. We want them to have a sense of comfort and ease and know that we're being transparent and what we're telling them is the truth and something that they need to know. This communication has to be timely, it has to be accurate, and as we've seen in the past couple of years, it's more important than ever to let our residents know that we are still here providing service day in and day out. And it, past couple of years, it may have had to look a little bit different, but we kept contact with them, and we provided our services with hardly any blips. Why do we do this? Again, we want to create that sense of trust for our residents. We want them to know that we are here to serve them, and we have open lines of communication, and that's very important. So when they see something coming from Canton, they know they can trust it. Also, as Michael pointed out in his map, we have a very diverse community, socioeconomic, cultural, age, it's, you name it. So we have to use a lot of different tools and a lot of different avenues to reach all of our residents at every level. From some kid who only looks at his phone, we have to get to him that way, to the 88-year-old resident in the trailer park who calls me every month if she doesn't get her focus. And we happily mail one to her. So we have many different ways that we do this. And how do we do it? So, as I said, we're each assigned to a department, so if anyone in the department, including our full-time electeds, has a need to get a message out or use any communications tool, we ask that they come and talk to their assigned communications person so that we can take that information and present it in a way that's appropriate, easy to understand, and in keeping with the Canton brand and style so that it can be easily identified. And again, we use a wide variety of tools. So not every message is going to get the full court press that maybe Liberty Fest does. It might just get a press release. It might just get a flyer. It might just get a Facebook post. It might get a few different ones. But again, that's what we decide. We are here to help our coworkers get their messages out. The Canton employees are our customers, and the world is our audience. I used to just say Canton residents are our audience, but now with social media, it can go global like that. One of our main sources of communicating with our residents is the Focus newsletter. It is mailed out monthly to approximately 38,000 addresses in Canton. It goes to every address, every business, every apartment, every address in Canton. Past surveys indicate that that is the main source of information for many of our residents. Each month, each department contributes. I get my information from my team here and other people, other employees, if they have something to contribute. This past year, in keeping with one of the board goals, we've created a focus page on the website so that it is translatable into over 100 different languages. And we just had a great suggestion from the technology committee. We're going to start putting a QR code on the printed focus so that it can get zapped and it'll take them to that translatable version of the focus on the website. We also have archived issues going back for years on the website. Speaking of websites, you've all seen this. We've got many different what we call department headers for public safety, leisure services, Summit, Canton Sports Center. This is something that we use all the time. We put our spotlights and news releases on the homepage. We update department pages multiple times a week. We act as publishers for employees who don't have publishing rights. There's levels of rights on this on the back end of our website. We also monitor all these pages so that the web styles are used appropriately, because that's what the Google searches crawl for. That's what they're looking for, is that they're pulling subheads and everything to get the information. We are also monitoring it for spelling, punctuation, grammar, graphics. These are all, when you take website training, they're all given to you, but sometimes training goes that way and you're still putting content up. So we monitor that and go in like elves in the night and try to clean stuff up all the time. These are just some of the department headers that we have. You'll notice on each page in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the audio eye. That round circle you see is called audio eye. And that ensures that our website is ADA compliant. If you click on that, you can change the font. You can change the font, you can change the font color, you can change the font size, you can change the contrast. It also has a reader, so it will read the website to you. Right below that, we have a select language button, and that is where you can translate into over 100 different languages. And then a recent addition on the right-hand side at the bottom there is our chat bot, which you can type a question in, and we are still in the process of training, and the more questions that get asked, the more it gets trained. But we are constantly trying to make improvements so that users can find the information they need quickly. Social media is obviously one of our big tools that we use. And it is accurate messaging on social media is crucial, because if you post something and it's inappropriate or it is, done poorly, it can and will be shared and go viral immediately, and then it's a whole world of trouble. So it's very important that those posts be thoughtful and use good judgment, because we don't want to be the laughingstock of, we don't want to see ourselves on the TMZ anytime soon. And I know we have a lot of Facebook pages, and Peg's going to address some of that later. And we have talked about potentially scaling back, and again, maybe the communications assessment can figure out what that looks like. And again, social media, everyone has a phone, and everyone can just sign up for an Instagram account and just start putting stuff up there. So it is a little bit scary, and it's a minefield. Social media can be a minefield, and even those with the best intentions can really step in it sometimes and cause chaos. But we have a Generally, we have administrative rights to all of our social media accounts, and we monitor them so that if we see there's something out there that is spelled incorrectly, sometimes that's all it is. I just called Peg yesterday. I'm like, hey, you need some hyphens on this stuff. And so she went in and hyphenated it. So for the most part, we haven't really had any, we've had some close calls. We've had some close calls. Somebody thought it might be a good idea to say we're putting butts in the seats at the Village Theater, but we caught it. It didn't happen.
Come on, Greg.
Exactly. You never know who's going to be. So, because sometimes people think it might be fine to put on your own page. That's fine, but is that something we want to present for Canton Township? So those are our big three. And then we have many other tools and avenues. We do news releases. We have a variety of e-newsletters, informational, promotional flyers. This new resident information book is being printed as we speak. That will go out, that Diane will give that to all new residents who come in to file their homestead, right? And a PowerPoint presentation. So if somebody has to present to you guys, we hope and pray that they come to us beforehand so that we can take their information and make it legible. Because sometimes we've seen some in their rough forms and you can barely read them because they've put wood paneling behind their, trying to be fancy, and it defeats the purpose. They try to be a little bit too fancy, so we gotta
Do you have standard templates for those, for PowerPoints?
Not yet, so I'm getting to that, Stephen.
Okay.
Yep. We do ads for various publications, and we do HOA email blasts, which come in handy. It came in handy during COVID, during, say we have a water main break or anything like that. And then other responsibilities that we have and capabilities. Say you have to make some public remarks at an event, and you might need a little speech. We're happy to do that. We don't need to, but we're happy to do it. We write scripts for cable all the time. We write speeches, public service announcements. We do develop and manage content for, as I said, website, social media, cable, television, shows. We man the Emergency Operations Center. We do the communications for that. And we do graphic design. If you need a logo, if you need a newsletter designed, if you need a brochure designed, we can do all of that. There's more stuff that we do. Not all the time. We do always try to manage the township image, including design standards and messaging style guides. Again, not everybody follows those all the time, and it's a struggle and it's a challenge. But again, these are all things that if the residents and the public are going to see it, we hope that we get at least a pass at it to make sure that that it's looking okay. I've seen some letters from different departments that I've gotten as a resident, and I'm like, oh, uh-oh, I got to go talk to that person. Why did this get sent out like this? But anyway, it happens. So I'm going to turn it over to Barb, and then we're each going to talk about what we do for our own departments.
Good evening. It's nice to meet a couple of you for the first time. I haven't met Kate or Tanya, I don't believe in person, but I know you've got my emails. Yeah. Full of joy every time, right? Yeah. I am, like Kristen said, I'm communications, and I'm also the business operations coordinator for public safety, so it's really dual personalities going on at all times, and you really try to keep everything straight. Due to the size and nature of our department, we have actually developed a communications team internally that consists of myself, Community Relations Officer Patty Esselink, and Emergency Manager Will Hayes. I know you're familiar with both of them. We are also trying to work on bringing in a firefighter. We had a new position approved recently, and we're hoping that we're going to, once he gets acclimated, bring him in on the team so he can be a face of fire out there. But everyone works really well together. They help out the communications team as well when they need help, so it's a great setup for us. And stay tuned for that addition of the firefighter, hopefully. So tonight we're just going to talk about some of the things that are generally communicated from our departments. First and foremost would be crimes versus the public is what we called it. Anything that could potentially impact the community at large would be put out maybe on a press release or in a social media post. Anything that has a potential to be a possible threat or a danger to the community would be advertised. For example, up there we have a press release. This was a bank robbery we had several years ago, and it went on for many hours, and we were doing live time updates to the media as it went on. So it started out with a man in the bank with a gun. He had hostages. He had released some hostages. They released some more hostages. Eventually ended with him being taken into custody. But we had a large local media presence out there. They were live streaming. It was really important to keep them up to date. We were keeping our social media up to date as well. We found out later that even that story was picked up by CNN. So it had a broad audience. And not every event will have that, but it has the potential to go that far. What we do not advertise are anything that would be considered for curiosity's sake. We're not putting information out. We're not sensationalizing events or crimes. If there is a lot of police cars at an address maybe on your street and a lot of people on Facebook saying, hey, what's going on, if it's not affecting the whole community, we're not talking about it. And we won't succumb to the pressure of every person on there asking what's going on. They start assuming things, but we definitely don't go there. The next thing would be advisory messages to the public. These are the common examples of either the road closures or we saw a lot of snow emergencies this winter that went out. We also use this avenue for assistance from the public when we are having missing persons or wanted persons. We have a lot of success with help from the public on things like that. A big topic right now is department positive promotions. We've been trying for several years to keep our police image up in the community because we know what's going on in the world. And our police and firefighters are constantly seeking out opportunities to engage with the community on a very low intensive level. They want to just be able to go out and just have some chit chat. Patty organizes a lot of charity events for us. They do Salvation Army bell ringing. They've done coat drives. Last summer, she organized a wing eating contest, which was held at one of the concerts in the park, I believe it was. The guys loved it, of course, and she is now calling it the first annual, so apparently there will be more to come. They're going to be super excited about that. But we are really grateful that Leisure Services, they invite us to a lot of their events, of course for security purposes, but it turns out to be a great forum for us to be able to go out and just be low level interacting with the community in a fun setting usually. So much different than if someone calls police or fire out for assistance. It's a whole different level at that point. So it's very nice, and we appreciate the opportunities that you give us. Also at the forefront of our positive promotions agenda is recruiting right now. It's a hot topic. We have teams on both sides made up of police officers and firefighters that we have tasked with coming up with creative, innovative ways to go out and recruit people into these professions, and specifically these professions in Canton. A couple years ago, we switched over our methods. We had been sending them out to job fairs with flyers, and the flyer would have information on the hiring process, maybe on the benefits of the job. And as soon as anything of that changed, the flyer was outdated, but it was still out there floating around with bad information. So we had the idea to create a recruiting page, or a couple of pages actually, and then we made up some promotional materials that just direct people to the website. So we can change the website on a dime anytime something needs to be updated, free of cost, as opposed to reprinting and publishing and passing out materials. So this has been really effective for us. We've made up some pens, we have these little postcards. So you go out to the colleges and the young people love to be able to just research it on their phone instead of on paper. At least that's what I hear they like to do. Statistics and forward-facing documents. This has been, we've been working a slow roll on our transparency dashboard probably for the last year now. We just recently added police policies. We've got some COVID statistics from the fire department on there, citizen complaints, a bunch of different statistics, but in reality, we do not love how it looks or functions. So we are in the process of coming up with some new ideas and concepts of how to better provide this information in a user-friendly manner to the people that are interested in finding these things out. So stay tuned for more to come on that. Public education and information opportunities. This category took a big hit during COVID. Our fire department is full of public educational opportunities for the public to take advantage of. We have CPR classes, fire extinguisher training, child safety installation. They will even have, a fire inspector will come out to your business or residence, and they will go through and customize a fire escape plan with your occupants. And they'll sit down and practice it with you, come up with ideas. All of these things have been on hold for COVID, but we are looking to hopefully this year start rolling some of them back out again. And of course, they would be communicated to the community because they are such a great resource to us. One of the methods that has not been affected by COVID are the PSAs that we work on with cable. Patty is the face of our PSAs up there. We can see right there. She has been hard at work. She comes up with a million different topics, and it's a great 1 or 2 minute video to just really promote something in a very effective way, very low-cost budget for us, but it's a great resource that cable provides to us.
Are those on the web, like on YouTube or something that you can?
Yes, we have links. Canton has the YouTube channel, I believe, and we could get links to it that way too. But they're usually fun, of course, if she's involved in it. What else do we have? Community engagement opportunities. This also suffered during COVID, but we're bringing these categories back actually this year. Coffee with the Cop has started up again. This is where a business in the community will offer to host, and for a couple-hour events, residents can go in and sit down and have a cup of coffee with an officer, talk about whatever questions they have, just whatever's on their mind. It's a very low-key event, but they're very well received. We've been doing those for years, and we'll continue to. What else do we have? The fire station open house. With the exception of the last 2 years, our firefighters have put on a fabulous open house every year. Very well attended. I think the last one we did maybe had 700 people come through there. Great family fun. They have food, they have activities. We just haven't been able to do it with the COVID restrictions. So we're hoping this fall to be able to bring that back to the residents. Youth and citizen academies are very popular, and they've also been on hold. But we will have the youth academy starting up again in June, and then if everything stays on track, we'll bring the adults back this fall. So that is a great way to learn about the department and the career opportunities in a really fun setting. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to be involved in it. Steve, have you been in? I don't know. It's definitely worthwhile. And then new programs and initiatives. This is not where we carry all the weight. This compared to leisure services, municipal services. But if we do have something new going on, this last year we rolled out the embedded social worker, so of course we put that information out. If we had a new CERT training class coming up, we would advertise it there, as well. But definitely not our biggest thing that we do. All right. And then last, I'm going to talk about the importance of having an embedded communication specialist. That sounds weird. Police and fire cultures are very unique, and they're unique separately. They're not even the same within the public safety umbrella. So being embedded into that setting and getting a feel for that is very helpful. It is definitely not like any other office job. It has, just by nature of the work, there's sad, there's traumatic, disturbing things that can go on that you're going to see. Definitely takes a certain mindset. It is not for everyone, as my cohorts always tell me. They're not interested. Subject matter expert, and by that I just mean knowing the roles and responsibilities of the individuals in the departments, who I'm going to for what. Everyone has something different that they're assigned to and working on. The operational structure of both departments, they are also separately set up, and they're fundamental, who's doing what type of things, and also need to know the terminology of what they're doing. And you really need to understand the context of what you're trying to communicate. If you don't understand the context of what you're saying, you are not going to be effective at putting the message out. So it does help to be in the environments on a daily basis. Knowledge of external communication restrictions. This would have to do with anything that we're putting on, any criminal-related incidents. There are rights of the victims, rights of the suspects. Juveniles have restrictions, there's HIPAA restrictions. You really have to know what is allowed to be disseminated, what is not. We change roles on our side a lot of times, so somebody bringing me information to put out may not know what can and cannot be released. So being in this spot, I am able to help them figure it out along the way. We work closely with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office on any high-profile cases or criminal cases for that matter. A lot of times putting out the wrong information can jeopardize a case or compromise a case, so we're very mindful of what can be said. As long as I've been doing it, I still will have something new or maybe a high-profile case that comes out that I'll still call up, and I have a counterpart on that end that I'll talk to. And we want to work together and stay in the guidelines of what can be released and not released. And I've heard from them many times, they absolutely appreciate that because not every department does that. And they say they see things on the news and they're just shaking their heads. So we work very well with them in that respect. Respect of the confidential environment that we're in. This is just knowing what, you got to have a lot of self-discretion when you're disseminating information, when it's the appropriate time. When we had the lockdown at the high school in December, that incident went out so fast, mostly to parents of students up at the high school, that by the time we were just assembling and getting a handle on what was going on, people in admin over here were emailing me what was going on, and my personal life was texting me what's going on, and it wasn't the time yet. We still had to figure everything out. So you have to really have a good handle on when is the time, maybe never. Some things maybe never go out, but you really have to have self-discretion on that aspect of it. And is that my last thing? Nope, I got one more. I got two more. Understanding the climate. The climate of police and fire is always changing, as you know. Well, not fire as much. They just kind of ride high all the time. But police struggles. We go up and down with the climate of the world. And we really like to keep a handle on maybe not so much what's outside is thinking, but we like to keep a handle on what Canton residents are thinking. We do a community survey every 2 years that goes out. Very simple survey. It asks, have you used our services? How do you rate the service? How would you rate the image of our departments? And then we always ask them to rate the priorities of the police department. We give them a couple of things to rate on. And we've been doing this for a long time, maybe 10 or 15 years. And the priorities shift over the time. And we do follow the guidelines of what they're saying. We do take it under consideration. And we like to adapt to what the climate is out there. So it's a very useful tool. Now it's required by our accreditation companies for both police and fire, but we've been doing it long before that, and it's very useful. If you've had a chance to participate, or if you see it in the future, we definitely appreciate that. My favorite bullet, the internal communications team that we have developed in public safety, because there's so much going on. As I said, Patty and Will are a great help. We work well together. We're all very different. We all know our roles. We back each other up all the time. Patty is the face of the department. She is our cheerleader. She's our events planner. She's our social media guru. She has a huge following on Nextdoor. I think she has access to the entire community, so she has a good resource with that going on. She's so great at her job. You all know, you've seen her in action, I'm sure. And Will is self-proclaimed cloud of doom. He was sitting right here, you'd like to say it. But it's just due to the nature of his position, right? He is the storm guy, he's the COVID guy. He is getting all the information out that we need, but he is always doing it with the biggest smile. So it's very like, you're so conflicted because you're telling me really bad news, but you have a giant smile on your face. So he's very fun to work with. He runs our township alerting systems. He has the outdoor warning sirens, and he runs Nixle. Right now, he's looking into exploring a new platform called Code Red. I may have been presented to you guys a little bit, but we'll have an RBA later in the month or next month that will bring that to you officially to look at. And then last of all, just the earned trust and respect of the coworkers that I have. If they don't trust me and get buy-in, have my buy-in, we're not going to it's not going to work. They're not going to come to me for things, and my chiefs especially. If they don't trust me and listen to my suggestions, then things don't go well. So I'm very grateful. I have a great team to work with internally and on this side. So it goes well for us.
Thank you.
You sure that's it?
I know. Chad said to talk a lot.
So I'm Amy Hamilton, and as Kristen said before, I am the DDA coordinator, which you guys have all sat through that spiel. So now you just get to hear the other half of my job, which is communication. So I'm primarily assigned to the Municipal Services Department, but I also serve as support for the Finance Department, Clerk's Office, Treasurer's Office, and Water Billing. In MSD, the communication needs are primarily focused on education, planning, engineering, building, public works. They have a lot of technical knowledge that needs to be disseminated to a wide audience. So for example, if you've ever talked to our township engineer, Bill Surchek, you know he's not short on knowledge or technical facts. That's an actual picture of his brain. So I have to take his brain, his information, apply it to an issue, And then I've got to find a way to present it in a way that's easy for the public to understand it. My favorite story about Bill's when I asked about a road construction project, I needed the details. He gave me the engineering plans. I said, a communication specialist, engineer, you need to explain it to me. Okay, so I'm not going to talk, municipal services is a very, very busy department. We've got a lot of stuff going on at all times, so I'm not going to try and communicate everything we do, but I'm going to hit you with the highlights. So the most downloadable thing on the internet right now is our curbside collection guidelines. Everybody likes to talk trash. So all holiday delays, weather delays, or service delays are communicated immediately with our residents. We use social media, we use the website, we do email blasts to HOAs, and we try and stay in direct contact. You know, as you know, like many communities, GFL suffered a lot of staffing issues during the pandemic, and that led to huge issues with yard waste, recycling, trash not being picked up. We were as transparent as we could be with the residents, letting them know what the issues were and that we were working on it constantly. You know, through this, we ended up developing an online form where residents could report it online, and we could generate a comprehensive list of all the missed pickups. And this really helped staff because it alleviated the phone lines, so they could get to the other business too that they were doing all day long. And it was great for GFL because I provided them an updated list every morning that they could work off of and circle back to pick that up. Last summer, you know, we were averaging about 100 missed pickups a day. So I'm happy to report that as of this week, we're averaging maybe less than 10 a week. So they've really turned it around. Recycling is another hot topic. When I started here 17 years ago, our curbside program had a little 18-gallon bucket, no lid, and we had like maybe 5 items you could put in there. In 2009, we switched to single-stream recycling, which greatly expanded that list. So we did a public education on that and how, you know, we could get people involved. Our recycling rate skyrocketed with single-stream recycling, and then in 2017, we replaced our little bucket with a 64-gallon cart. Today, our biggest issue in recycling is contamination. You know, having too many unaccepted items in the carts, because they're so big now, I think people just think they can throw everything in. You can't. So having too many unaccepted items placed in the cart can cause our recycling loads to get rejected, and then those go to the landfill, which then it fills up. Then we got to find another landfill, and it could end up costing the taxpayers a lot of money. So last spring, as you guys know, we launched the MSD 8-week program, Feet on the Street. This was paid for through a grant. In addition to the inspection of the carts, we launched a comprehensive public education campaign on what exactly could be put in the cart and what couldn't be. We used all communication channels to educate residents, and thanks to that campaign, our contamination rate was improved by 28%. But the work continues. So this April, MSD will have a dedicated flap in the Focus newsletter that highlights our Canton Curbside Recycling program. We're also going to use the flap to let the residents know you're getting a new sticker in the mail. So one of the things we got on the feedback from the Feet on the Street was, your sticker's wrong. Well, when we put that on the lid, when we ordered all the carts, all those things were acceptable. But recycling markets change. If there's not a buyer for the end product, then they're not going to take it anymore. So instead of doing a sticker that's going to have everything you can put in, we're going to use the QR code, which I think seems to be the theme tonight.
Yes.
So we're going to ask residents to place it on their recycling cart and scan it, because it'll take them right to our recycling page that will have an up-to-date information on everything that we accept. And the great thing about using the QR code on our website is, you know, we have so many different languages that are spoken here that if they go to the website, they can, you know, choose their preferred language, so we can communicate better with people and hopefully reduce the contamination rate even more. So, and then yard waste, I just put that on there because it starts April 4th. We're already getting calls.
Reminder.
MSD also does a lot of environmental events during the year. You know, our biggest ones are River Day, our annual hazardous waste roundup, and Canton cleanups. The Canton cleanups take place on scheduled Saturdays, and we like to push that out to the residents because, number one, you can take small amounts of hazardous waste there. And we encourage people to do that because in the past we've had really long lines at our hazardous waste events because we only do one a year. So we try and tell people, you don't have to wait once a year. You can take small amounts. They'll take paint, they'll take oil, they'll take batteries. And it's also a great opportunity too for apartment complexes that don't have curbside recycling programs. They can actually take it to these Canton cleanup places and recycle there. We also.
Sorry, Amy, how do you know where to take it? Where?
Canton Cleanup?
Yeah.
It's on our website. We post it on our social media. The dates are in the Focus newsletter. In fact, one side of the flap in April has the curbside recycling program that we do with all the acceptable stuff. On the back, we're highlighting other recycling opportunities, including Canton Cleanup. So all the dates will be in the April Focus. We do a highlight on the simple recycling where you can have like gently used household items that aren't part of our curbside collection. You can recycle through there. And then as well as our hazardous waste event, we're already pushing that out to the residents, which is in September. We also assist Wayne County in promoting their large-scale hazardous waste events. During the pandemic, they didn't do any, so they haven't done any in 2 years. But I'm happy to report that they're actually bringing them back in 2022. So the first one's going to be this Saturday at Westland Mall. And we will have, as their dates become available in locations, we post that to our social media, our website, and the Focus newsletter. Okay. So, road projects is a big one. So as you guys know, in 2018, we launched a public education campaign to help pass the road village. This created our Canton Road Improvement Program. Each year, the selected projects are highlighted on our website, social media, Focus newsletter, and local papers. We use all communication channels to educate residents and visitors on the construction schedules, detour routes, and other vital information in order to minimize any inconvenience. I know everybody hates road construction, but it's kind of a necessary evil. So we try and help as much as possible to let people know what areas to avoid. We've also been able to implement and develop and launch an interactive road construction map where, residents, business owners, public can go on, they can click on a project, they can see when it starts, they can see if there's any detour routes. And we've also, what we're trying to do is every project we finish, we highlight in green. So if a Canton resident looks at the page and they're like, this program's been going on for 3 years and you haven't touched my sub, but you look at the map, you're like, oh, but I see how much you're actually doing. So, I believe it's over 12 miles of road that we've improved so far just in the first 3 years, which is kind of amazing. One of our biggest projects, as you guys know, planned this year is the Canton Center Road reconstruction. Full reconstruction from Ford to Warren. Anne Marie really wanted to get out in front of this, so she talked to the communication staff, and we developed an informational flyer that she walked to all the businesses to help us.
3 pounds.
Yeah, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So, we were able to let everybody know about it. We're having a public information meeting on April 5th. We've ordered signs that we're going to give all the businesses to let them know that they're still open during business. So we've really done a full court press on this. And I think, like I said, people aren't always happy with it, but I think they are very receptive and appreciative of the fact that we were getting out in front of it and letting them know exactly what was going on. And then water quality issues are also a big thing. Although water safety has always been the top priority in Canton, Flint really brought a lot of issues to the forefront and made a lot of people really nervous about the quality of their water. I'm happy to tell you Canton's water is safe. I'm currently working on the consumer confidence report. So the water gets tested every year, and then we send out, we call it the CCR, but it's the annual water report, and it shows all the testing levels. We're always way under. We're safe. We used to have to mail it out and print it, which was like a high cost, but with the changing technology, we've been able to add a link to the current water report to all the water bills. We also put it in the Focus that goes to every address in Canton. So people are able to access it easily, and they can see that our water is safe. Water main breaks. They have the ability to impact our water quality. They can do anything from cause low water pressure to actually need to require a boil water emergency. Although rare, in the event that we do have to issue any kind of emergency alert for low water pressure, those press releases are already pre-written. The social media posts are pre-written. We have an emergency file in Canton of all communications that we don't have to sit there and think about it and write it. They're ready to go. Because in an event of any kind of water quality issue, we want to be able to communicate immediately. And then no wipes in the pipe. This is a national campaign that Canton MSD has joined. For years, we've been trying to promote it through various focus articles, website pages, social media. It's basically, even though wipes are considered flushable, they're not. They don't break down in the sewer system, and they can cause costly repairs, backup systems. And, it's not good. So any kind of event that we have, we try and get that out. And we've worked with Leisure Services in the past to add signage to public facilities that say, no wipes in the pipe. And then permits. So MSD provides development, planning, building, and infrastructure services. And it's responsible for coordinating these activities to provide the best possible service. How do we do this? Through lots and lots of permit applications. Between our 4 divisions, there are nearly 50 applications online that residents, business owners can download and fill out. I work closely with each division to maintain and update these applications to keep up with code changes and any kind of state laws. The applications range anywhere from 1 page to over 14 pages, and they can be daunting for somebody to fill out. So what we have done in the past is we add to them kind of a how to fill this out. Anywhere from a submittal checklist, like before you turn this in, do you have this, this, and this, to actually step-by-step instructions of what they have to do. I mean, I just worked with, recently, our senior planner, Erin. We developed some flow charts for the planning process, because even though you think, oh, I'm opening a business, it's this, this, and this, every business is different. So there's 7 different charts that we've attached to each application so that it kind of walks them through the process of what they need to do next.
And maybe, Victor, I don't know, maybe, as we move forward, we can figure out a way to make this a little more efficient on our website. No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Our applications too.
So, and I had mentioned at the beginning, I do support other areas. Finance, I work with them on their annual budget covers and joint presentations that they do with MSD. Treasurer's office, I work on getting the tax payment notices out, because everybody loves those. Water billing inserts, water rate education, that kind of stuff. Clerk's office, in 2020, we did a lot of work on, because of COVID, you had the promotion of all the drop boxes, because you added the one that was outside the drive-up one, the absentee ballot list, where people can sign up there to permanently get an absentee ballot. We did posters, election FAQs, really anything you guys need, we can do for you, so. That's my spiel.
All righty.
Great.
My turn. Peg Stevens for Canton Leisure Services. I am very fortunate that I get to lead the Leisure Services marketing team, which is comprised of marketing specialist Christy Smith, along with marketing and communications coordinator Sydney Brzezinski. In addition to providing timely, accurate, and useful information, Leisure Services is tasked to maximize participation of all of our classes, programs, events, and utilization of all of our services at our facilities, which include the Summit on the Park, Pheasant Run Golf Club, the Village Theater at Cherry Hill, Canton Sports Center, the Block Youth and Teen Center, and Canton Club 55. We accomplish this by developing marketing campaigns that are designed to target specific audiences. And you can see that we target all ages and abilities, from diapers to diplomas, as well as we consider from cradle to, well, the golden years. Our marketing campaigns that we create basically use a combination of marketing tools that employ a variety of communication strategies and marketing tactics. And one of our primary goals is to utilize what we call top-of-mind marketing awareness. And what this is, how this is accomplished basically is by using a variety of marketing channels, we are able to position Leisure Services so that we are the first organization that people think of as the first service provider for a person to utilize. Our goal is to communicate to specific target markets with specialized messages that enable our audiences to make very well-informed decisions that we hope they will take advantage of all of the services that we have available to them. One main difference in Leisure Services marketing and communications is that the tone of our voice in all of our messages is what we consider to be very friendly and has a personal tone. It's almost as if our audiences are hearing from personal friends. And you'll also notice that every single one of our message contains a call to action. What we are doing is we are using specific language that is used to motivate others to take action. Those include visit us online, register today, call for more information, come in for a visit, try it for free, etc. So every communication channel every message does contain that call to action. In addition to these call to actions, we also utilize specialized taglines for very specific divisions. Some examples include, take the first step to better health at the Summit on the Park, splash into summer fun at the Summit's Aquatic Center, visit the Village Theater at Cherry Hill where imagination takes center stage, explore all the excitement at this year's Bunny Hop, get into the game at the Canton Sports Center, your passport to adventure awaits you at Canton Club 55, and ring in the new year with a new focus on fitness. So all of these types of taglines are developed to be attention grabbers, and we use them to elevate the message so that hopefully we will stand out from the crowd. Some of our primary marketing channels include, obviously, our Discover brochure. We produce this twice a year. We do a spring-summer edition as well as a fall and winter. And we typically publish about 42,000 copies that, again, go out to every household in Canton Township. In addition, we also distribute those throughout all of our facilities. What the Discover brochure does is it basically tells a complete story for that season. So we have very talented event planners, specialists, and coordinators who put together a wide variety of offerings. They really tap into the needs and desires of the community. And through the Discover, we tell that story. Right now, we heavily rely on our websites, which include the 5 department headers, Leisure Services, Summit, the Village Theater, Pheasant Run, and Canton Sports Center. And our website is extremely important because it enables us to tell a complete story. A lot of our marketing channels will utilize just abbreviated messages where we refer them to the website so that they can get the complete story there. In addition, we utilize e-newsletters such as Leisure Link, The Peak, Cherry Notes, Tee Off with Pheasant Run, Canton Farmers Market, and our Prime Times. So these are electronic newsletters that actually get emailed out. We do 5 monthly, and then we have the Farmers Market, which is a weekly newsletter. Again, what it does is it provides that important link so that folks can register immediately. We're always trying to get folks to take action. Let me take a little drink here. Any idea which the number one? Oh, that's a good guess. Actually, it's Cherry Notes. Currently, we have 6,000 subscribers for Cherry Notes. Leisure Link is about 2,700. The Peak, we're at about 2,500. Farmers Market is 1,800. Tee Off with Pheasant Run, about 1,200, and Prime Times is 800.
What is Cherry Notes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Cherry Notes is specifically for the Village Theater. So we can include all upcoming performances. We do videos that the Canton Community Productions creates for us, and the all-important link to buy tickets now. Additional marketing channels include, obviously, flyers and posters. We utilize those quite a bit. And something new for our posters is, we mentioned here this evening, QR codes are all the rage because we're able to track how many people utilize those specific QR codes. And they, in addition, take you directly to the website where you can either register for a program, buy a ticket for theatrical performance or an event. One thing that we've been doing lately is trying to utilize direct marketing campaigns. We have recently been very successful with our Veil Pack inserts. I think you're all aware of the Veil Pack. It's that well-known blue envelope that comes to your house about once a month. So with Veil Pack, we're able to basically determine what zones within Canton we want to reach. And in the past, we've utilized it to promote Summit on the Park memberships for the new year when people are interested in focusing on fitness, as well as we wanted to expand the reach to the Canton Farmers Market. So we include a free giveaway. We were able to track that. They brought their little coupon in, and they were able to get a free tote while supplies last. So in essence, what we do at Leisure Services, our main marketing objectives are to provide useful and actionable information. We are always trying to increase participation, attract new users, and obviously retain current clients. And in essence, we work hard to establish an ongoing relationship with all ages and abilities.
Thanks, Peg.
Thanks.
So as you can see, we all have different tones we need to use. We all have different voices. We all have different audiences. You know, Peg has the fun stuff, Barb has kind of the grim stuff sometimes, and Amy has to talk about sewers sometimes. So, so we all have our own roles, and I think they all do them very well. So our goal overall is to always just communicate to our residents, get the messages out, whatever we have going on, we want to help our coworkers get their messages out, because we're all so busy. We're providing so much service to our residents. How can we help let our residents know about what's going on? And we want to maintain that trusted relationship. We want to promote our facilities, our classes and events, and we want to help the board reach their goals of attaining communication goals, streamlined communications, increased public service announcements, multilingual communications, and we're working towards that. And to Stephen's point earlier, when we roll out the new logo, and there will be, we're going to revamp so much stuff that you've seen. There will be PowerPoint templates, a variety to choose from. There will be templates for flyers, for newsletters, so that, and there will be guidelines that we hope are followed with style, meaning here's your color palette you should be using, here's your font family you should be using, so that anything that goes out looks like Canton. So when all that gets rolled out, there are big plans. We need a little time. Time and money. So a couple resources that have been in short supply in the last 10 years. But that is our ultimate goal, is to just maintain that sense of trust and maintain Canton's reputation and our image in a positive light. So thank you all, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Not really a question, more of a comment, but just thinking through the challenge of communicating to a community of like almost 100,000 people who really don't pay attention to anything unless like something goes wrong. And then they're mad that the information isn't right there in front of them. And so like just thinking through that and like what support you need and how the board can be helpful. And I don't expect you to have that answer right now, but just kind of think that through. And also like the fact that our community is so diverse, age-wise and demographic-wise, like communicating to the 30-some-year-old family is not the same as communicating to the 60, 70-year-old resident who's been a part of this community for, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 years, who knows where to go find information, right? Or knows who to bug to get it.
Yep.
So just thinking about that.
It is, and it's tough, and it's ever evolving. We're always trying to find new and effective ways. And like I've told Anne Marie before, I said, generally what we've noticed is you've got, in a community, you've got 20% of the people are always going to be mad at what you're doing or hate what you're doing, and it doesn't matter what you say or do, and they're just going to be mad. That's okay. And then you got 20% of the people who are always going to be involved, and they know where to find their information, and they come to the events and programs, and they love it. And then 60% of the people are just living their life, and they don't even know what we do until something goes horribly wrong. So really, it's that 60% of people that we're really trying to be accessible. You know, we want to be easy to find. We want to be easy to understand, and we want to be transparent, and we want to let them know, hey, here we are. We want to make as few clicks as possible on the website to get where you want to go. We know not everybody has a computer, so we want to make sure that they are getting the focus. And I know some people wonder why we spend money on the focus, because I just use it to line my bird cage. Well, you're welcome for a bird cage liner then, you know? And if you happen to just spot a headline where you're like, oh, wait a minute. So again, yeah, we are trying to, like Peg said, reach every age, every ability, every culture, every language, and it's tough. And so we're always open to new ideas, and we're always wanting to help and to look for new ways, and yeah.
Victor, do you have any, I mean, because you've kind of met with them, do you have any things from a technology viewpoint for communications? I know you've been working with the group.
Yeah, I think when I met with you guys, we talked about the different platforms of disseminating information. And particularly when you are looking at the analytics of your, the community that you're serving, it informs you in terms of, how you meet the needs of the community. And so it became crucial to understand that the community that we're serving has the population that are old, that really pay attention to everything that come out from Focus. But at the same time, that's part of the reason why we, the suggestion came in from the technology committee to put the QR code from that. And it gives that person the opportunity to also explore more information from the website. Now, the other group, the younger group who, are probably looking at the information from, from their phones, then the information also will have to be tailored in such a way that, it doesn't, the way you go out to young kids, if you bring it out the same way you go out to somebody who's elderly, they'll be like, ew, so you have to tailor it, and you guys seem to have done really great job in capturing that. As you begin to engage in the process of rebranding, there has to be consistency across the board, and that consistency is on twofold: one, on the messaging; two, on the brand itself, so that people they know this is coming from Canton, especially in this day and age of what we call fake news or fake information.
Right.
All right. So when they begin to trust it, know that this is branding, this is the brand of Canton, this is coming from Canton, then they will trust it. And then that way you are also engaged with them. So there's a lot of things to consider from there. And I'll continue to pitch in as much as I can.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, so thank you so much. This was really informative, and I learned something, so that was great. The first question I had, actually, Summer asked, which was, like, what do you need from us? What, what resources, especially for those of you like Kristen and Amy who have dual roles. So, you can talk to us about that in the future. But happy to support you. I was wondering about the new resident information book, because I'm super excited about that, but will that be available online also?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah, you should be excited about it. It's awesome. And back to your first comment, this we expect to receive proposals for the communications assessment on Thursday. I believe they're due, and so that we're not sure what that's going to look like and what's going to come out of that. So whatever does come out of that, whatever recommendations, that's where you guys might come in. I mean, we're always open to do anything, and like I said, usually it just takes some time. More often, it just takes money. So that might mean another body. We're not sure what that's going to look like, but I'm sure we'll be back in front of you after the assessment happens. And yes, the new resident booklet. I'm happy to say also, the center spread is a welcome to Canton paragraph that I was able to translate into 6 or 7 different languages. And it basically directs them to our website and tells them to use the select language button, and so that we have the information for them. So, and I checked with some of our bilingual coworkers, employees that we have, to make sure that what I had put, because what I did is I took that paragraph and I put it into our translator, and then I took a screenshot of what it did and made it into an image. So this is our first time trying it. And again, we're getting enough printed for, I think, maybe 6 or 8 months. And so then we'll make adjustments in our next printing. So we just hope it makes people feel welcome. It lets them know about all the information, all the stuff all the services that we provide. Again, just trying to let them know that's why Canton Township is here. We are here to provide service to our residents. And so the more we let them know about what we do, the better.
Yeah, I think it's great. My neighborhood actually just started a welcoming committee because we had a little more turnover in the last year than we haven't had in the past. And by that I mean like maybe 5 or 6 families. But so I'm going to tell them, I'm going to be like, guess what we have? And then talking about timing, I just was wondering if you did have any update on the local rollout, like approximately when?
We had planned on a January 1st rollout of everything, and then we heard about wanting to transition to a .gov. And we didn't think it, because the new logo will also, there will be a new website redesign that incorporates that. And we didn't want to send everything out with, we wanted to include the new address as well,
Okay.
all at once.
Yeah.
Here's our new look, here's our new website, here's the address, bookmark it. So I'm hoping the timing is going to work here. So there's a coordinated effort because we do want to make it look that like it's a one, we don't want to do it piecemeal.
And Victor's also, with his experience with websites, he's looking at, do we use the same, was it Cisco systems, is that what we're using?
Civic Plus?
Civic Plus,
Civic
that's right.
Plus.
Yeah, so he's experiences with that, so he's also looking at the attributes of that too. And do we
Yep.
change that up?
And yeah, that might not be the way to, we're kind of, we're going to make sure this all rolls out the right way in a thoughtful, measured manner.
I think it's crucial to remember when you undertake a rebranding effort, it calls out a lot of stuff, all right, even to the ones that we don't necessarily think of when we're looking at these things. For instance, I was sharing with her, in websites, there's something that you call styling sheets, all right? We call it CSS. And CSS is what controls the fonts, for instance. That's where you dictate the kind of font that has been called out in the branding initiative. So the branding initiative comes out with a package and say, hey, this is your logo, this is your font, all right? And these are the color scheme for Canton. And all those things are dictated. And so you give it to your designer, and then you go into the process of designing the website. And in the styling sheet, you enforce that anything that happens in this site is controlled by this particular font. So somebody who is their job is to do content doesn't have to worry about the style, because you go into the content management system where you put in your content, the styling sheet, which is dictated by the design, by the font, will control all that. So it's very important for that to happen before anything. And so once that is ready, the .gov process is moving along. We're very, very hopeful, very hopeful.
Yep.
And so
I think
yeah.
I think the timing is, I think we're going to make it, it's this year for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank everybody and I probably have interacted with Peg the most, and and it's good to put a face to Barb. It's like I get this news, and I pay attention more to Barb's emails than Peg's emails.
That's okay.
Because, that's like, okay, what's going on in the community? But
Over there, I can tell.
yeah, but I had the same question about the logo, but like you're saying, it's going to happen, and I think it's good to everybody coming together to work, and it's good to have our ITI director, Victor, in the process, so we can all work together on this, and this was really informative, and I really like that idea of putting different languages in the welcome book. So are you, so again, going with the same theme, do you have a QR code there, or?
I didn't. Damn it. Next time, next printing.
Yeah, that's a good idea, right? To have a QR code in there that will take us to our website. and-
Yeah, I just, yes, I should have.
Yeah, that's.
Anyway,
No,
again,
I
that's why I didn't want to get, I was dragging
No,
my
it's
feet
good.
on getting
It's
it
like-
printed.
You come
Next
up
time.
with it the next time,
Yeah.
because you can go with, because
Yeah.
there would be people who are, at the same time using paper, like most people are going to their phones at least.
Sure.
So check with the website and
Yeah.
get the information, so.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
I'll just also add that, thank you for the presentation. You communicated it very well. And you kept my butt.
That would have been really bad if it
That's right. You kept my butt in my seat. So, Kristen, would you say everything that you went over, all four of you went over, covers the board goals that we set at the beginning of last year, that in terms of for your section on communications?
I would say so. Like I said,
Yeah.
one of the goals was multilingual communications.
Yeah.
I created a separate page on the website where we already had the focus on the website as a PDF, but those don't get translated.
Okay.
So I go in every month and I make a page with just the text so that the Google Translate just can zoop, 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 zoop. And again, in the new resident packet, and we're putting the QR code. So multilingual, we are getting there. We are working. And PSAs, we've gotten Michael and Diane in the State of the Township video along with Anne Marie. We've gotten Anne Marie, I didn't even talk about that. She's got her own talk show, Good Day Canton. Oh, she also has an e-newsletter. I didn't talk about that. So this was just, this wasn't like everything we do. This was just kind of an example. And as far as streamlining, again, we're going to see what the communications assessment says.
Well, the assessment was part of our goals, right?
The assessment was part of the goals, and so we'll see what the bids come back looking like, and then we'll hire a firm, and then we'll see what they do. One of the things we put in the request in the proposals was that they survey our residents, to see what they're thinking. So we'll see what comes out of that and move forward.
Be nice if they surveyed younger people, make sure that when even the children in our community.
Well, Anne Marie surveyed some, and they wanted to know if she was the queen, and they wanted to know how old she was.
And you said yes.
That's so funny.
So,
Proper answer is, yes, I am.
yeah.
I am the queen.
Right. And I know, like, for Michael, we want to get the younger people registered to vote and get them excited about voting. And so, how are we going to reach them?
Yeah.
So, we have a fun job, essentially, because we get to figure out what is it we need to communicate? How can we do this? How can we do it effectively? And how can we do it so that people trust the message?
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. So I was either not paying attention, but when we talked about the brand report that we're going to kind of be going through, where are we at in that process?
I'm sorry, the what?
Communications
Assessment? Oh,
assessment?
the
RFP.
The proposals are due on Thursday.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to look, talked to Mike Shepard, and he was able to go through the Mitten portal and see, we can't see who has submitted proposals, but we can see who at least downloaded the information.
Interesting.
So that might not essentially result in a bid, but there was quite a few. Oh, really? Like 10, 20 maybe, so that we're at least interested enough to download the information. So we'll see what they come back with. And we'll go from there.
That's excellent. Aside of that, beautiful presentation. It was really well done. I'm very excited to touch base as we prepare for the year in the clerk's office. Obviously, Amy, you've helped us with all of our graphics up to this point and done amazing work. But yeah, we're going to need some help in the clerk's office, and so we think we set up a meeting
That's what we're here to do.
shortly, so I'm pretty excited about that, so.
Good, great.
Yeah, but really appreciate it, especially, we're like aggressively trying to kind of lean in to communicating primarily because of elections. There seems to be a substantial amount of concern when it comes to electronic communication, when it comes to messaging. And we are, like, by our very nature, never able to keep up with individuals who kind of, they just have a more amplified message when people want to share information that's not factually accurate, you know? It's really challenging, but we're doing what we can to kind of get in the game, and we will appreciate your help in that process. So super excited about that and grateful. So thanks.
Just real quick, great presentation. Excited about the welcome packet. I know we get residents all the time asking lots of questions.
Yep.
So real excited about
Good.
that. And I know I've used Amy quite a bit, and we appreciate you both in the treasurer's office and in water billing, because you put together that how to read your water bill, which really helped.
It's the little things.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, and then PEG 2, we use the electronic board to remind people taxes are due. So, I truly appreciate all of you. So thank you guys
Has
so
that been
much.
fixed?
No, we've placed a service call.
Okay.
So we're waiting for, we work with a company, it's a global company called Datronics, and we basically have to coordinate with them and the technician, and then ITI and facilities maintenance, and get everyone together at the same time. So we're hoping to have that service call be early next week.
Okay, well, I don't need it till September.
No sweat.
But they've already warned us that the supply chain, getting
Yeah.
parts to repair anything is
Oh.
just taking forever. So we'll have to see.
Maybe I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
September. Thank you, though. Thank you all.
Just one question for Andrew. Basically, I don't know how much there's a lot of communication. Sometimes people receive through text and they can sign up. Do we have that kind of option? We have an option to get the newsletters. You can go to the website, and for different departments, you can sign up for the newsletters, which I've done. But is there a technology that we can use in the future, or is that something recommended to use? Because we are a government entity, right? So, communicating important information via text, I don't know. I'm just thinking out
There
loud.
is the SMS messaging. However, there is a fee associated with that.
Okay.
So yes, we try to be very careful utilizing that. Right now, we do our alerts go through SMS.
All right.
But Code Red is something that's coming out very soon, and that has the capability of that. So residents use Nixle right now, and we're switching to something called Code Red, and that Code Red will be able to tell you about emergencies, water main breaks, and you can even put leisure services events.
Yeah, those kind of emergency messaging.
But you sign up for
Yeah.
it. Yes, you
Yeah.
sign up for it.
Yeah.
It's subscriber based,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, so that'll be
Okay.
soon.
All right. Thank you.
And then, Kristen, you had added that chat bot. How has that been used? What kind of feedback have you gotten, or how many people have used it?
Somebody, we see the questions, and somebody was like, "Where's the Livonia Rec Center?" Well, we're not going to have the answer to it. It's not the yellow pages.
They
So
thought they were at Google.
yeah. Somebody asked, yeah, it's not Google. Somebody asked if, who's the king of Canton, and I think it was Michael who asked that, but we can see the questions. It's mostly, how do I apply for a job?
Yep.
How do I pay my bill? And trash.
Yeah.
And so, and again, on our website, the sticky navigation that infuriates some people, but it's there for a reason. Those topics that are on the bottom, the sticky navigation, we used our data when we redesigned this last time, for what were our most searched for pages and what were our most visited pages. And so those were the ones that we put there. And we made it sticky so that wherever you are on our website, you can get back and pay your bill in one click. And so we have definite ideas for the redesign of where we're going to reposition that sticky nav, and it's so it won't take up the whole screen. And we've listened to feedback and all of your the websites that all of you submitted that you liked. So it's where was I going with this? So anyway, our website is the chatbot. We get a lot of different questions. We train it as we go. If it's telling us we're getting a lot of questions and it doesn't know where to send people, we go into the back end and we train it. And we say, like, for instance, Anne Marie, you couldn't find the strategic plan. So I went in the back end and I said, you put in anything you think somebody might type in there. So I said, Board of Trustees plan, strategic plan, board goals. Like I tried to think about all the different things that somebody might call what they were looking for, or the You Belong Here plan. And I said, if you see any of these phrases, here's where you send them. So we go on the back end and we see what's being asked and what isn't being answered. We can see all of these questions. How do I apply for a job? What about my trash? Those are easy ones, and they get sent to the proper page, no problem. We can't tell them where the Livonia Rec Center is. That isn't on our website, so we can't train it to answer that. And go here, yeah. So it's been interesting, and we are still training it, and people use it. People use it a lot, and people ask it some really weird questions. And oddly enough, both on Facebook and on our website, people confuse us for Canton, Ohio all the time. All the time. So that's also kind of funny.
Yes. Okay, and then Peg, would you be able to, I don't know if you have a listing, you could send to the board of the cable, what happens at cable, the different shows that you have and a description of them?
Sure,
Because I know we didn't
absolutely.
cover that, so they could just see that.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a very talented cable staff. They are amazing. And then we do have the YouTube channel. So absolutely, I can put something together and send it out.
Okay, thank you. And then Barb, you talked about the lockdown that day, some of our kids were there, and the first communications we got were from our kids, Mom, what's happening, what's going on? And, how do you get on top of that with something like that, when your kids have these phones and they're putting things out there? And then I was out there with some parents, and one of them was I'm telling my kid to jump out the window and run, because there's a gunman running around and things like that.
Yeah, that was our first example of how quickly it would get out of control. And our department actually found out initially because one of our lieutenants got a text from his daughter saying, what's going on, why are we in lockdown? And that was our first notification as a department. So we were equally, really quick, what's going on? And we were hearing it from several people before we were even on scene, before we even had a handle on it.
Yeah.
But you coordinated with Nick Brandon, or was he any of it?
Initially,
Yeah.
after a while, but initially, the first reaction was that it was the parents, and it was us finding out, the school can do a lockdown without the police necessarily knowing. I mean, or they can do it for a variety of reasons, I'm assuming. We didn't know how far it was, how credible it was. So it took a minute to just kind of, I think we activated a partial activation of the EOC within a few minutes, and, Will, Patty, and I are in our stations ready to go. We all know what we're doing in there. But we had to have some oversight from the chiefs, they had to assess what was actually going on and what was going to be our role. Was it credible enough to actually start putting out some media? But it definitely gave an example of how fast that texting community is going to take over. They had, and I'm sure it was out already, but they had around the school, they thought they had captured a picture of the person on the security camera. So they sent it out to some teachers thinking that, hey, teachers, do you guys recognize who this might be? It was a terrible photo, but do you know who this might be? And teachers were sharing it with their kids. One teacher we heard put it up on his class monitor, and so all the kids are taking pictures with their phones and blasting it out. It wasn't even an actual suspect. It was just an image that they captured. So it just oh, it just blew up, and it just gave a real good picture of how fast that we will lose control of a situation. But we just stayed on task with what we were doing. We weren't buying into that. We weren't sharing that image. You know, we were just staying with the facts. And that's really all we can do at that point. People were very, the comments that we received that night were all really supportive. There wasn't any, nothing was really angry. You know, a lot of times it goes sideways and people start getting mad, but it was very controlled, I felt like.
For the police anyway, so.
That was hard. I mean, one thing I can think of is just, you know, if you, I mean, we know we were texting our kids like crazy, and the teachers were telling them things, and they were texting us what the teacher said, but even if just you use the Facebook page to put out the, this is what, you know, status is. Because people always, you guys have the highest count for, I mean, public safety is like 10,000 something, or 13,000 followers. And so,
Brought the numbers if we really.
yeah. But something, I don't know.
I thought somebody might ask.
Yeah, I think in the aftermath of Oxford and
Yeah.
people just wanted to know, they wanted information, they wanted to know what was happening, and everything was locked down, and kids were spreading rumors that were not true, and so parents freaked out, and they were calling 911, and I think you had to put out something, stop calling 911.
We put that out a lot when we
yeah.
have incidents, don't call.
Yeah.
We already know, keep the lines clear. We also, you know, while, you know, Patty was sitting next to me and she's going to do the Facebook, but I'm doing the press release, which is the wording for everything else that we're going to do from there. But I'm coordinating my press release with my chiefs and also with Nick Brandon, who is the communications specialist at the schools. I think he's actually communications director. But so we're waiting to hear with them. They want to talk to us before they put a message out to their email blast to their parents. They want to know what we're comfortable with them saying. So there is a lot going on in a very small window of time. So you're trying to keep everybody comfortable with the information going out. Patty's sitting there staring at me like, hurry up, hurry up. I'm like, hey, I got a lot of people to talk to. So you just got it, and you don't want to miss something. You don't want to put something out in error. So you really pay attention to what you're doing, and just, I mean, eventually, that was hours in the making. So 2 minutes, 10 minutes, I mean, I'd rather have something accurate in 10 minutes than something that went out in haste in 2 minutes. So
And we're often.
there's a lot going on that is behind the scene that is just, and it's rushed and it's fast, and oh, if I have a typo, you're just going to have to excuse it.
There's also this historical perspective, like we're so paralyzed by risk by putting anything out until it's vetted, and I've already had 30 phone calls about it, you know, so.
And a lot of
It's just a
hysteria
yeah.
and misinformation was going on with parents out, standing outside the school. I mean, it
Well,
was just.
And we had, I knew you were getting texts, but we had, Chris Stockline was in the room, and his son and daughter were both texting. So we were hearing what was going on out there. It was most of us were not parents of the students up there, but we were hearing what was going on, and we're just like, you know, oh gosh, really?
Yeah.
I
Really?
think
Gonna say that?
like Barb and Patty, they get slowed up by me if we're, you know, we have an investigative command, we have a perimeter command, we have a search command, we have all these commands going on, and they're just trying to say whatever. you
Yep.
know.
We follow it. We're good. We're a well-oiled machine at this point, right?
Yeah,
We've had enough to be pretty good at, we all just,
Right.
We were all standing in the hallway, I think, when it was decided to do that partial activation, and like I said, 2 minutes, we're all set up, and everyone knows their roles. Will's got his role, Patty's got hers, I got mine, and, you know, they're running their scenes, and
And I think something you said was very important as far as consistent messaging, that Patty was waiting for you to write, and that that was the message then.
she's not doing
She's
her
not
own.
going, she's not going out on her own. And it was the same thing with COVID. It wasn't as, you know, fast, but whatever the leadership team, whatever the message was, they were waiting, and it was like, okay, guys, here it is, so push it out, you know, so that it was one consistent message. Because, again, if you've got 5 different kind of messages going out, how is a resident going to trust that message then? It has to be consistent and clear. And again, you have to, we all respect each other and trust each other and know, like Patty was waiting for Barbara, like, come on. She was rushing her, but she knew not to start shooting stuff out on social media without having Barb write it first. And so, that's the only way it can work effectively, I think.
Great job, everyone. Any other questions or comments?
Sorry, I just thought of this, and it might be too much to get into right now, but I was thinking about communications and how it's, yeah, I think we've talked a lot about pushing communications out to the community, but what mechanisms do we have to get communications to us from the community? And, like I saw on the public safety website, there's report crime tips. And then something else that I thought about was something that I had talked to Chad about a long time ago, and it's now up on the website, but it's the form for registering a person with autism, and that's an important communication to public safety because those individuals might have different kinds of communication needs if they happen to have an encounter with public safety. And so just talking about a little bit maybe about, the other way that communication is important.
We, they find us. That we have on our website, we get a lot of questions through our website.
Right.
That our Eric McDaniel then forwards to the appropriate people, and we always answer them. On our Facebook pages, we have blocked comments because there's a lot of inappropriate comments that got made. But we make sure that they can always message us on Facebook, and we answer them immediately. And so there is that communication. It doesn't all have to be public, because mostly, we had people telling us to do things with flaming bowling balls that is just physically impossible. So, so that's why we've locked that down. But we put our phone numbers on all of our information so that they call. Believe me, I have my email address on the Focus, and I get plenty of emails. Telling me that it was, I got one email yelling at me because I put daylight savings time and it should have been daylight saving time. And I apologize. I apologize for that one. He was not happy with me, but yeah.
So glad you sent that email.
Yeah,
That email wasn't sent.
I was pretty proud of myself for my response. I went through a few and then I just said, I was just checking to make sure people were paying attention.
There's a contact number and email on every web page
yes.
too. I mean, people do find us, and like Kristen says, we get direct messages after hours, weekends, and we try to be as responsive as, because people want it now. So
Yep.
we try and get them the information as soon as possible.
Yep.
Great. Anyone else? Comments?
Can I just add one?
Yeah.
I found out, I think yesterday, I saw a news story that said that Southfield had 911, text to 911 translator capabilities. And I thought, oh, how could they have that and we don't? Because I thought we all use the same system. So I just found out this week that we do have that. We all have that. So we are going to, I didn't know this was such a big push, but we are going to, we're going to start working on advertising that this week because that is huge. And they talk about people that want to be able to text their message. They're in fear. They're in a quiet space. That's a big feature. And it was weird that Southfield claimed it. I guess they just were the first ones to advertise it. But we're going to jump on the bandwagon.
Dang!
We're gonna jump on
Let's
the
be the
bandwagon.
second ones. Okay, we're getting it out there.
Right,
Boom.
right.
Tomorrow.
Right now, go back to your office.
Write it. Hurry up. Write it.
Chad, do you have anything else, or Greg, or Victor? No? Okay. Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
Thank
Good
you.
job. We look forward to learning more.
Great.
The next item is public comment. Do we have any public comment? Any public comment?
Anthony?
Not tonight? Okay, anyone else? No public comment? Okay, have any board comments? Diane, start with Diane.
No, great presentation.
Yes, great. Summer?
I have nothing, but thank you.
Kate?
Yeah, just thank you.
Tanya?
Thank you.
Stephen?
Same here.
Michael? Great, thank you. Let's see, okay, can I have a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned at 6:07.